All right, so let's talk about our current weather pattern, where we are now, where we're going into the weekend, and where we could go perhaps into what is historically the peak of the tornado season in the United States, which is mid to late May here. So as of Thursday evening, this would be, what is this today? May the 8th. We are looking at really kind of that remained stuck weather pattern. You still have this, this area of low pressure kind of spinning in this area here. There's some little disturbances kind of rotating around it. You got one of those bringing some rain to central and south Texas tonight, and some clouds up here into Oklahoma and north Texas here, but no rain there. But the little spin you see is going to finally drop kind of south tomorrow. And as it does so, that's going to kind of put north Texas and southern Oklahoma into the favorable area maybe for some spotty showers or two. And then by the weekend, this is going to kind of drop down into the Gulf here, and then next week it's going to finally get out of here. So let's kind of talk about all of that here. All right, so satellite again shows those clouds moving overhead tonight here. No rain, north Texas and central parts of Oklahoma. There are that go showers down toward Austin, Texas, San Angelo, those areas, but again, they're staying down that way. A spot shower is possible on Friday. But the dry flow of air will continue over us into the weekend. You can, as a matter of fact, we can probably bring this area of low pressure a little bit further down, kind of over in here. This is a dry flow of air. This keeps any moisture down here locked in the Gulf, so humidity values remain low. Temperatures remain comfortable. Actually, the weekend weather looks fantastic. Now, as we get into next week, and this would be early next week, you can see that storm center finally, it's been stuck here for about a week now, finally begins to get a bit of a shove to the east here. We remain at least early on in the dry flow of air. Offshore flow continues to keep the moisture locked down in the Gulf here. But what we're going to have to start watching, by the early and middle parts of next week is a developing weather pattern out west. Remember that during the time frame, usually somewhere around May 15th, right through about the 27th, 28th, historically speaking, you see active severe weather period kind of out into this area here. So let's see what the pattern suggests. There comes that storm system. You can begin to see a stormier pattern maybe. It's not set in stone. It's still quite a ways away to tell exactly how it all comes together here. You're going to have a couple little storms that are kind of move across the southwest into maybe the central or northern plain states. You've got a really nice strong jet stream coming here across the southern plain states. And by this point in time, high pressure should begin to pump at least some moisture northward. So I do expect with this type of pattern, at least to start with, it's going to get windy and hotter. And eventually that will help bring some moisture with those south winds northward, so the humidity levels will eventually go up some here. So there's a couple storm systems in the area between, let's say, Wednesday and all the way into the weekend and perhaps the next week as well. Again, it's too early to say whether or not these would bring severe weather to at least this part of the country down south. But the pattern certainly would suggest it might here. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all happens. We can see, we call this the thunderstorm potential. It's actually called a supercell composite. It shows an atmosphere that might be favorable for some supercells here. There we are Wednesday. You can show, this is next week, trying to start showing a few little things. And it kind of off and on shows it Friday and into Saturday and maybe even into Sunday. And that could probably continue next week. What that just basically means is you got some stronger winds aloft on top of, which increases wind shear, on top of increasing moisture and levels of instability. So you probably have some dry lines in the area, and you probably will get at least some severe weather across parts of the central or southern plain states with this. So yeah, a more active severe weather pattern is certainly possible. It's not set in stone that we're going to get that, but it's possible here. And the period to watch would be around May the 15th through May the 25th or so, or at least that's the way it looks right now. But in the meantime, though, the weather looks pretty good. Enjoy it. 70s and 50s, and then we do warm things up into the 80s and 90s next week as we increase those south winds. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on the pattern, and I'll have updates as I see more information and get better information and start getting a little more confident about areas that may or may not see some of that next week.